You're looking at the two best late round running back duos in fantasy football 2024. At least two of my top 3 or 4. Because not only is the starter, the presumed starter in the case of Najee Harris and Connor, available in the 80s and 90s in your fantasy football draft, especially best ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, but the handcuff and the potentially near as good, if not better, handcuff in Benson and Warren is literally right behind them. You can handcuff not only Najee and Warren, but you could essentially handcuff Benson and Connor together in the same draft and own all 4 running backs. The Fantasy Football Show late round sleeper running back duo edition begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
What's up, everybody? Appreciate everybody being here live per usual. Wolf or Wolfo, something like that, first in the building tonight. Kobe, we got Silva in the house. Where are my Silva brothers at? You guys got to be here more often. Space Ricky, Overcome, appreciate you all being here. File on in. Melvin Torres in the building. Look, Marco, appreciate you. We're talking about a way to absolutely dominate your fantasy football running back drafting late in a draft. These combos are killer. You could literally go 0 RB with this approach and feel pretty damn confident walking out of your fantasy football draft. Let's give an example of that. We're talking about, yes, these guys are all in the 8 to 9 round. Actually, let's go back to the screen real quickly and go over their ADPs. First and foremost, you're going to have to draft Najee and probably Warren slightly ahead of Connor and Benson. But if you reach a little early, you start drafting like in round 7 and reach on Connor, who's going in round 8, you might be able to get the entire quad cuffed. So if we look at this ADP ranking, Harris is going about 87.2. Jalen Warren's going about 90, so those kind of have to be back-to-back picks. Then you got Connor going at 95. You got Trey Benson going at 103. It could be kind of difficult to get all 4 if you begin the process of accumulating them late. But they're all going super late, and you could essentially almost guarantee yourself at least one of these combos, and then let's say Benson. So you go Harris and Warren and you miss out on Connor, you get Benson. Or you go Connor and Benson, you miss out on Harris and you go Warren. Or you go Harris and Benson and Connor. I kind of like that combo the best, but these are unbelievable duos that if you were to, let's say, go to your fantasy football draft, okay, and here's round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you go here, you go 0 RB. You take, let's call it Jamar Chase right here. You take, let's call it, let's say you get Debo right here. That's a receiver that I'm kind of often taking around 2 when everybody gets scooped up and gobbled up. Let's say you take Jalen Hurts right here. Let's say you take Travis Kelce right here. Or you could go Mahomes and Kelce. Let's say right here you end up getting, I don't know, you just start going down the line, and then eventually after you get, let's see, round 5 wide receiver. Who could be a round 5 wide receiver? Let's look in the round 5 right now and find a wide receiver. Jaden Reed's there. Keenan Allen, no thank you. McBride is there. Let's go McBride. Let's go no Kelce here. Let's go McBride here in 5. And then in 4, let's scoop up. There's ETN. There's Jacobs. We'll go Jacobs. This is a phenomenal squad. Chase, Debo, Hurts, and then we go running back there. But if we didn't want to go running back, if we were going true 0, I couldn't resist it. True 0, running back, Tank Dell. Okay, so Chase, Debo, Hurts, Dell, McBride. I mean, maybe you even start accumulating this early. Maybe you go Harris here. Maybe you go Connor here. Maybe you go Warren here. And maybe you get lucky and Benson falls here. I mean, tell me that isn't a championship caliber team. Chase, Debo, Hurts, Dell, McBride, Najee Harris, Connor, Warren, Benson. And however you got to accumulate this, and if you got to leave off Warren or maybe Connor, I would leave off one of those guys. I want Benson. I want Najee. Those two components are better than the others, but Warren's kind of important. This is a fantastic squad. I'd love to hear if anybody doesn't agree. And if you don't love maybe the players I put in here, insert your favorite players here. You could literally go Kelsey, Mahomes, and then go Pickens, or you could go someone like Jaden Reed or whatever. The point being is there's an endless amount of examples you could give that give you the ability to draft 0 RBs all the way through at least round 6, 7. And if you cuff this combo of player right here on the screen, I think it's a championship formula. And it's one of my favorite double RB duo handcuff late absolute smash your league approaches in 2024. Let's go.
Mashed potatoes!
And these guys are a part of the Smitty bunch, or these two guys really are a part of the Smitty bunch, where you've got two different families merging together to form one of the best crews that I've seen across two teams before, joining as one family. I give you the Smitty bunch. And yes, we have Benson down in the bottom left corner, but Connor is attached to that. So do it live. Do it live. Benji with a super chat, $5 hauler. Appreciate you, Benji, coming in strong. Smitty dynasty question. I have the 1.1 in Superflex. Someone offered to buy it. He wants the 1.1 at 2.3 for Amon-Ra. Is this something you would move for MHJ? Amon-Ra, 2.3 for Amon-Ra. He wants the 1.1 and 2.3 for Amon-Ra. No, Marvin Harrison Jr. is quietly... I say quietly because I want to make you guys aware that I'm trying to get away with it, right? I'm not trying to overspend, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is quietly my number one dynasty wide receiver in fantasy football. So at the end of the day, if I own him, I'm not trading him for anybody. If I don't own him, I'm going to try and maneuver in a position to be like, oh, if I had Amon-Ra, I'd be like, I'll give you Amon-Ra for MHJ, but MHJ's not proven yet. Give me something more. I'm going to try and take advantage of whoever has MHJ and try to get more. But at the end of the day, I like Marvin Harrison Jr. more than any wide receiver in the National Football League. Is it a gamble? I guess so. But who's the wide receiver you'd rather have? Maybe Jamar Chase? I mean, he's been getting injured. I think he'll stay healthy. I'm not trying to be negative on Chase, but he's had trouble staying healthy. Is it JJ? He's got, in my opinion, no long-term elite quarterback. Is it Lamb? We don't know if Dak's going to get extended. Who's his quarterback a year from today? Is it Tyreek Hill? No, he's older. There's literally, it's MHJ to me. MHJ to the moon, pal. MHJ is the man.
Hi. What would you like?
Footballs, please. Lots of footballs, please.
Coming up.
He's Marvin, he's 11 feet tall, and he loves to consume the football. He's Kyler, he's 4 feet tall, but starving Marvin will answer the call. They're Kyler.
Thank you, Benji, for the super chat. But yes, Marvin Harrison Jr., keep him. If you got him, keep him. If you don't have him in another league, anybody watching, go get him. Best ball: Hurts, Henry, Walker, Chase, Dell, Reed, Njoku, Dotson, Javonte. Bench is strong rookies, including Daniel Jaden Daniels right. I like it. It's a good team. I like that a lot. Try and get Charbonnet to lock down the running game, the running back situation. But I like that a lot, bro. Pick up the rookie backup in Baltimore too, maybe potentially. I like the squad though. Thank you for the super chat, TMO, and Benji to the moon with those 2 super chats. Appreciate you guys a ton. Ron Navy dropping. How'd I miss this one? Ron, did you slip this one in the beginning? Ron Navy with a $20 holler at the beginning of the show. How did I not see that one?
Alert. Super chat alert.
I don't know how I missed Ron Navy's $20 super chat. Ron, you know what? It's probably because he was basking in the glory of seeing Najee and Warren on the screen, and he dropped it so fast the system didn't even let me know. But Ron probably saw that and was just ecstatic when he saw 2 of his players on the list. Ron, you still here? I think I would prefer Kyron Corum over both of them personally. Who are you talking about, Juicebox? I don't think you're talking about this situation here. You must be answering someone else's question because it's not even related. Howard Mighty, why did MHJ have his hand in Kyler's? Howard, watch your mouth. Okay, you keep the respect on the table when you come in here and talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, Ron's still here. The problem with dual running backs like this is you don't know who will get what. Not true. These aren't committee situations necessarily. Even though Arthur Smith is very much a committee running back at times, I believe Harris is going to get the work, and this isn't necessarily all in Arthur Smith's hands anymore. He's kind of handcuffed by Tomlin in a way. And, once he chooses his workhorse, even if he has a committee, there is somebody getting more work than the other. And on this side of the fence, Connor's going to be the guy until he gets injured. And he's an older running back. Once he does, Benson's going to go crazy. And not to mention, remember the cost of entry, my guy, is literally in the seven round range if you begin early. You get all these guys in rounds 8 and 9. So there's no real problem here at all, especially when you're building up your other positions so aggressively. If you were to wait on any one of these, even if you drafted Jacobs in round 3 in our example, and you just wanted to consume one of these running back staples. So let's say you go just Harris and Warren. If you do that, you don't even need to take Harris here. If you do that, you can literally, because you're not trying to consume all 4, you can go Harris in round 7 and Warren in round 8. And then this way it gives you another player that you can grab there. And this, maybe this is Jacobs. But because you're so aggressive at these other positions, you don't need to worry about, but there's a little bit of a risk involved in terms of the committee. You're stacking your team so aggressively that you're accounting for that risk. You're baking that risk right into the situation. Young dropping a $2 holler. Happy Memorial Day, besties. Thank you, Young. Appreciate you. Yeah, happy Memorial Day. Or not happy Memorial Day. We're celebrating Memorial Day. But so appreciate everybody out there. Appreciate all of the people that have had family members that have served and all of that. So Smitty, don't forget Ron's 23-month membership. Ron, do you know, Ron, are you a 23-month member? Do you know that you turn into a Saturn? If you are 23 months, let me see. 23 months. Ron, we redid all the memberships last night, the little image, little icon that's next to your name. As soon as you turn 24 months, it turns into a Saturn. You're going to be the first person we've seen with a Saturn emoji next to their name, the green name. So that will be fantastic once we see that. So next month, Ron will have a Saturn. Right now we have just Mars and Moon and Earth. So if it's your first month, you have the Earth emoji. Overcome celebrating 23 months. He'll get one as well. That's awesome. Space Ricky, 22 months. He's getting close. So Ron is 23 months. He's 1 month away from Saturn. Ricky, Space Ricky, our moderator in chief here, 22 months. And Overcome, 23 months. This is going to be fantastic to see a couple usual Saturn emojis popping next to these names. So good job, guys. If anybody doesn't have an exclusive membership, go get it. Andrew's 11 months. Appreciate you. Thomas is 15 months. He's got a little ways to go. Let's freaking go, Smitty, to the moon. Appreciate you, Thomas. Thank you, Andrew. Almost a full year here. Let's get it. So once you get your full year, bro, you go from moon to Mars. So you're a month away from becoming a Mars emojied YouTube exclusive member. So fantastic. Thomas, appreciate you, Thomas. Thank you guys for dropping your celebratory messages. And Abanto is 10 months. He says, let's freaking go, Smitty. Show is always a delight. Thank you. The delight is all on this end of the fence. Wow, the big dog's about to hit Saturn. Rightfully so, says Young. All right, dial into the phone line.
Live from the
show. Call into the show.
I'd like to know what you guys think about this amazing, in my opinion, amazing running back combination of players that can help you dominate and win your league. And if you are smart, you will deploy this strategy several times in your Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty League, where you can hit this link right now in the live chat, and we draft at midnights most nights on Underdog. Just hit that link. They'll give you 50% match on your first deposit all the way up to $250. So if you deposit 100, they'll give you 50. You deposit the minimum of 10. That's all you got to deposit. It's $10. They'll give you $5. And if you do 500, they'll give you 250. If you do 600, they'll still only give you 250. They match you 50% up to $250, but you can, join these drafts with us and dominate. And on Underdog Fantasy, these guys are going in round 8 and round 9. No earlier, not even round 7. Round 8 and round 9 is where you'll find Harris, Warren, Benson, and Connor. And it's the biggest home run combo, duo, secure RB situation you can find in the 8th and 9th round. There's just no other. I'm sitting here looking when I get to round 8. Jonathan Brooks is a fantastic pick as well, but he's not a cuff combo that you're going to attack like crazy. There's no other situation like it. Turn down the background music there, 915. What's your name, 915, and where are you calling from? I'm going to put you on hold real quick, but what's your name and where are you calling from, bro? Okay, he got nervous. Ron Navy, you're live.
I heard him click.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while. People call in and they think they're ready, and then they're like, I didn't know you'd pick up. I picked up the number, I dialed it, and when you answered, I was like, oh my God, I got to go. What's up, Ron? Thanks for the $20 holler. Rest in peace, Bill Walton. Pour one out for Bill.
How close are you to 25K? I see it's 24.9, but how far?
We are... It's close. Let me find. I think it's like 10 or 15 maybe. I think we're right there on the brink. Let me find out. I can click it real quick and find out. It is like 20 subscribers, and we're at 25K, and we'll change that sign behind me right here to 25K up here on the wall. Yep, almost there. We're getting there. I have a feeling we just got a subscriber too. Thank you, whoever just did that. My system normally alerts me to it, but my alerts are just all jacked up. I'm trying to fix those, but there's only so much I can do trying to make all these different plugins play together. So appreciate you guys. Anybody who hasn't subscribed yet, you could be a part of hitting that 25K. So we're right at about 19. What do you think about this? I know you love Harrison Warren probably more than Benson and Connor because that's your team. But Are you deploying this duo a lot in your best ball drafts? I imagine you are, but I absolutely love it, and I'm not even like as sold on. I love Harris that late. I don't. If Harris was going around 4, I think you'd take him. I wouldn't. I love Harris in round 8. It's a big difference. It's like night and day. It's like having the lights off at the club. It just everything's looking different and better. He in the club with the lights off in round 8, he looks glorious. And I love doubling up on this, and then I like Connor and Benson. Sometimes I'll draft Harris and Benson if I can't get away with the quad. But what are your thoughts on it? Yeah, but that's not the same convo though, because Kyron's a second rounder that like that. Well, I saw that comment earlier.
But what I'm trying to say is, I got those combinations pretty frequently where it's because Warren's way down. So by the time I take Najee, usually Warren's like right there. I don't get a chance to pick Warren. There's that.
Someone said they lost the audio on Ron. No, they can't hear you. Let me see if I can fix that. I don't know why. Let me see.
That's probably a good thing.
Let's see. Talk, Ron. All right.
All right. Can you hear me now?
They should be able to hear you now. I don't know why I lost the audio.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what I said is, by the time I get down I take Najee, Warren usually goes before I can get him. So
Yeah.
I don't have there many combinations of Najee and Warren.
But for those saying,
But
that like I like Kyron and Corum better, I've seen that like 2 or 3 times in the chat. It's not this conversation. This is a drafting of your entire running back crew, or the RB in rounds like 8 and 9. Like Kyron's a second rounder, so yeah. So it's not this. Of course, I'd rather have Kyron. I've seen that like 3 or 4 times in the chat now. It's like I'd rather have Kyron and Corum. Well, no shit.
yeah, well, I mean, I got a lot of. I find myself like if I get the number 1 spot, I find myself with a lot of combinations with CMC and Kyron.
Yeah, I love Kyron
And then
Corum. It's the best.
Najee in there.
It's the best cuff in fantasy.
Najee and Corum in there, and that's a pretty sick backfield right there.
This is the best cuff in fantasy, no doubt about it. Kyron and Corum, but Harris and Warren are too. It's tough to like rank these. I'd almost say Harris and Warren. Like I don't know how I'm going to do this. This almost needs to be like 4. And Monty and Gibbs are almost not a necessity because of how they stand alone very differently. So they don't really hold the same kind of cuff value. They're almost independent fantasy players.
Right.
So I don't know that that's why they're not up at the top. Everyone's like, well, how do you not have Gibbs higher on this list? This list doesn't really have to do with Gibbs. It has to do with the cuffing, necessity. And Warren and Harris are probably more important right now than Garendo or any backup to CMC. But my prediction here, I guess, is that Garendo climbs in and becomes that important. But I think until he does, I might have to move Warren and Harris to 4. And you could argue even 3.
I think that Kyron and Corum will end up kind of like Gibbs and Monty. I think they'll be their own. I think when it's all said and done, they'll end up being their own little entity.
Maybe. McVay's very much a one running back guy, though. You'd be predicting him to change his ways, and he could. I'm not saying he can. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
But
if you're not changing, you're not growing. If you're not changing, you're not growing.
Well,
that's how the works.
Yeah, we'll see. But McVay does like to feed one monster, but we'll see. Hang tight, Ron. Let me go to Sebastian. Sebastian, you're live.
Smitty, I'm not gonna lie with you. To preface this, Benson is my number 1 drafted player. Before I say this, I strongly disagree with your Connor and Benson combo. Why Jonathan Brooks and Zach Moss are both there at Connor's value. I mean, standalone, I think Brooks is way better than Connor. I think Moss is a better cuff combo. If you were talking about two running backs, Benson and Connor versus Moss and Brown, I mean, Brown is even way cheaper.
But you're acting like you're acting like
cheaper.
you have to pick though. Like I don't think you're following the whole point of the show. Like, who said Jonathan Brooks isn't fantastic? Who said Jonathan Brooks isn't one of my favorite draft picks in 7, 8, 9? Like, I didn't say that at all. I'm not saying I run away from Joe Burrow around 7 because I'm doing a show about Harrison Warren and Connor and Benson. Jonathan Brooks is not a cuff. This is what running back, the whole title of this video, Sebastian, is what running back duo is the best duo you can find, the latest in the draft, and it's Harris Warren, Connor Benson. Jonathan Brooks has nothing to do with this conversation.
Yeah, and that's what I was pointing out the Cincinnati backfield.
Well, that's a good one too, but there's no that crushes the hell out of Harrison Warren or Connor and Benson. It's good as well. It's another good one. Like I think Chase Brown and Zach Moss is fantastic, but this has nothing to do with Jonathan Brooks. This has nothing to do with Kyron Williams. This has nothing to do with those. This is about what handcuff duo can you secure late in a draft that is the best one we can find, and these two are those guys. Jonathan Brooks is fantastic, bro, but there is also something called diversifying your portfolio, and so these shows are ways of trying to do that and give people different options to look at. No one should be drafting Jonathan Brooks every time over Benson and Connor. Jonathan Brooks, only Jonathan Brooks. What if he doesn't get going until later? What if he has a setback? He is coming back from an ACL tear. I mean, there's definitely some goodness there. I love him. I talk about Jonathan Brooks all the time, but this is not that show, bro. So you can disagree with all you want, but he is not a part of this conversation.
So you think a 29-year-old is cuff worthy? Like I don't know. I think James Conner is done.
He's starting the season though as the starter, and he did finish on a nice run. So if you want a cuff in a secure situation, absolutely. If you want to go with just Jonathan Brooks and Benson, I do that all the time. You're acting like I'm choosing one avenue to promote and that I don't love going Jonathan Brooks and Benson in the same draft. We're having a different conversation, Sebastian. This is how do you find a cuff, a duo that can protect you if, let's say, you go 0 RB. Now, you might say, I'm going to go Brooks and Benson if I go 0 RB. That's fine. I'll do that in a ton of drafts. This is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to deploy one specific strategy. A lot of this, we are talking about best ball. What different strategies can you deploy? You can't keep drafting the same team over and over. You can't keep taking Benson and Jonathan Brooks in every single one of your drafts. What if neither one of them get going until later in the season, bro? They very much both could not be effective until week 10, week 7, week 5. It could be week 3, but you don't know. You can't consume all of Benson and Jonathan Brooks and Chase Brown. You might have no running backs until midway through the season. And not to mention, like, look, you're an anti-cuffing person. Like, why don't you be honest with yourself right now? You don't cuff anybody. You've already said that. So, like, of course you're going to disagree with a show that is centered around potentially cuffing anybody. You even said out of your own mouth, you would rather, instead of cuffing your running back, grab the cuffs of everybody else, which is a strategy. But that's the way you operate. So you're, of course, going to push back on cuffing anybody. That's just your nature, which is fine. It's a strategy. But you don't cuff anybody. You don't like cuffing anybody. You don't even want Blake Corum if you've got Kyron. You've even said you'd rather, instead of getting Corum, you'd rather go grab some other handcuff like Chase Brown or something and not have the secured up duo. So that's your strategy. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I do deploy that strategy on occasion because variance is very good. Having a diverse portfolio is smart. But you take this cemented in approach to a lot of things, and you literally can't see the value in grabbing Connor and Benson in a draft where you strategically are a little bit light at RB, and this gives you a guaranteed running back, bro. This gives you a guaranteed running back every single week, Connor and Benson. This Harrison Warren gives you a guaranteed running back every single week. Maybe your approach doesn't call for that. Maybe you've got Jacobs and Henry, and now you want Jonathan Brooks and Benson only. That's an approach I would take. But that is also a running back build that doesn't need Connor or one of these guys. It definitely doesn't need James Conner. It could use Benson or Jonathan Brooks, a home run hitter down the stretch. That's a completely different draft strategy. What we're talking about today is if somebody's building a team that requires security downstream at the RB room, you're going to want Connor and Benson. You're going to want Harrison Warren. You're going to want a cuff because you grabbed nobody at the top of the draft and you can't afford to grab all the backups. What if they don't land? This is security. But it only works for certain teams. Sebastian, you can't take your favorite approach and just try and force all this into it. It's not always going to work. These are all different strategies. Look, I'm going to have videos on how to dominate using Jonathan Brooks and Benson alone and get the home run hitters. That video is coming. That'll be a video right up your alley. But not all these are going to jive with what you're thinking in your mind about how you're building the first beginning part of your draft. You know what I mean? There are worlds where Connor and Benson would be smart for you.
Oh yeah, that would be like a TMC team. If you don't go RB in the first like 8 rounds.
There you go.
After that, or something.
All right, hang tight. Hold on 1 second, Sebastian. Let me get this color in. 884. Who is this? 84. I tried to add them, but they didn't come in. Dial in again, 84 color. Ron, what's going on? I'm not going to be here much longer, guys. This is going to be a shorter show today. Coble dropping a $20 hauler. Sorry, hold on 1 second, Ron. $20 hauler from Coble. He says, no days off for Smitty and the Fantasy Football Show crew. God bless all the veterans and great country. That's more of the message you want to send on Memorial Day, guys. Not, hey, let's celebrate happy, a lot of people say that happy. Ron, don't you agree? When people say happy Memorial Day, they probably shouldn't be saying happy Memorial Day, right? They should be saying
remembrance of
yeah.
soldiers that have given life for our country.
I remember when I was little, I'd call my dad up on Memorial Day, like, Dad, happy Memorial Day. And he'd always be like, yeah, thanks, son. But, and I didn't understand it when I was younger. But a lot of people do say happy Memorial Day. I don't know if that's I don't think it's wrong. I mean, at least you're trying, right? But I think people think it's celebrating different things.
A lot of people don't understand meaning behind it.
But anyways, appreciate that, Coble. God bless all the veterans and this great country. We'll see how post-Pete Carroll Seahawks shake up the offense. Ryan Grubb's going to do great things. Walker Charbonnet could be a real solid duo. That's also a fantastic one, by the way. But it's a little bit more costly. Like Walker's going, I think, a little bit ahead of those guys. So this is a conversation to be had, no doubt about it. I love Walker and Charbonnet together. Looking at Walker's ADP, he's just a little bit higher. He's like, I would say, in the 60s. So he's probably in the, he's probably in the, I think he's in the 60s. Yeah, he's in the 60s. So that puts him right around like, I would say the tail end, or the tail end around 5. So top around 6, probably good value for Walker. And that's, it's still very, very mid-round range. So Walker and Sharps could be in this conversation, depending on how we want to define it. So great topic, Coble. Coble to the moon, $20 hauler. Let's go.
Alert. Super chat alert.
847 caller, what's your name and where are you calling from, bro? Thank you, Coble.
Hey, Smitty. It's Joel. It's my first time calling the show. Love your show. I'll be quick about this. So why are we so confident in this Najee and Warren duo? To me, not only is Arthur Smith there, big red flag, we know last season, and the back half of the Steelers' schedule looks really tough. I mean, they're facing Lamar twice, Burrow twice, Hurts, Mahomes. I just don't see it being, very efficient down the stretch. especially come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we look at defenses and we say, you know, from year to year, it is tough to know what defenses are going to be the toughest defenses, you know, and if I look at my running back strength of schedule, just to give you an idea, the Steelers rank in about middle of the pack, so I'm not even concerned about it schedule wise. Because you got to factor in the reception parts of it, you know, like the receiving and running back schedule. So they have in the final 3 weeks of the season, the Steelers face the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. The Ravens are a good D. They're second against running backs and in terms of receptions and rushes. So the sum total of a running back schedule that includes PPR, they're number 2. But defense changed from year to year. Philly's 25. I think Philly will change as well. But doesn't mean Philly won't be more. Philly's more of an opportunistic defense. They don't necessarily hold people to like low yardage. So Philly's 25. KC's 13. KC's middle of the pack. So I don't know. That's one game. That's one game to me, Baltimore, that concerns me. And that's not even the week 1 of the championship or the playoffs. So I don't know. I don't know that I fully agree. I would say as far as Arthur Smith, you're not crazy to be worried about it. I'll just tell you that. And but you also got to factor in what I'm saying here. We're talking about rounds 8 and 9 is where these guys start to go. So the risk is baked in to that degree. Now, is this my favorite draft strategy of all time to go 0 RB, like this example right here, and go Jamar Chase, Debo, Hurts, Tank Dell is what the example was, and then McBride, and then get this duo late? It's not my favorite of all time, but if people like to draft like this, this is a great approach for those people. That's kind of why I do a lot of these different shows. It's variance. Not everybody likes to draft wide receiver. Not everybody likes to draft running back. Not everybody likes to draft running back, wide receiver, running back. We got a lot of people, because of the best ball influence, and I think this is wrong, that now go wide receiver. They'll draft 4 straight wide receivers. And if you're that guy, you're going to need a strategy. So my strategy for you would be to deploy this one. But you're not wrong in fearing Arthur Smith. You're not wrong in fearing a running back by committee. And Sebastian's not wrong in general of saying, I don't love building teams where I draft both guys. I'd rather grab Brooks and Benson. But he's also not telling you the front part of his story, which is he's not relying on this as his running back 1 or running back 2. He's going to have Henry and Jacobs earlier. Therefore, why would you want Connor? I don't want Connor if I've got Henry and Jacobs already. I want Benson and Brooks. Those are 2 different strategies. But if I need an RB, secure RB1 and RB2, and I waited until this, you know, deep into a draft, this is a pretty smart strategy. But it's not one you deploy everywhere. So you're right in how you deploy it. I also say that when I do draft, let's say, Bijan in round 1, let's say I take Debo in round 2, I take Hurts in round 3, and I find, I don't know, Jacobs in 4. So I've got Bijan and Jacobs as my 2 RBs. I still love drafting Harris in round 8. Like, I'll smash the hell out of that. And then I'll take Benson and Brooks with it if I can, and then I'll be done with my running backs. Like, I don't mind Harris at all. I do worry a little bit about the committee, but I think Arthur Smith is probably going to be different to a degree, because I don't think Tomlin's going to allow him to just muck up the running back room. I think that he's going to be.
I hope so.
He's going to be very handcuffed to a degree as to what he can do, but it's certainly a valid concern. I mean, we just saw him ruin Bijan Robinson for a whole year. We got running back 9 value out of a guy that literally was driving like 20 miles per hour when he's capable of going 200. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, with Najee, I don't know, the durability is there, but, you know, he plays. He's available, but, you know, ever since his rookie season, I mean, he's been going down draft boards every year, and last year with Warren, it seemed like he was more efficient in every category than Najee. So,
yeah, but
I
then
get you're saying handcuffing, but,
I think Warren's the guy that's going to take over.
Yeah.
Najee was injured with the Frank injury prior to.
And then he did come in, and he did come in underweight. He's trying to get in shape in different ways, kind of like Aaron Jones did the year Aaron Jones broke out. So his nutrition, his weight loss, and all that stuff. He's trying to become a different player. But Warren's exciting. I think I'd be lying if I said that I was super confident that Harris was the better player of the two. I really think there's a debate to be had. It's a great problem to have for Pittsburgh. They got the same situation at quarterback. They got maybe, Ron would say that near the same situation at wide receiver, because a lot of people like Roman Wilson a lot. They've got a lot of duplicates. This is like NASA over there. They got a backup plan for the backup plan. It's got duplicates of everything. Drafted 2 offensive linemen. Like this is like they could have almost 2 starting units. Just rotate them in. It'd be crazy.
Well, considering schedule, and we got the toughest schedule this year of any team. I mean, 3 games at the end, 3 games in a 10-day period. Nobody else has that. Kansas City has 3 games in 11 days, but Pittsburgh's the only one in 3 games in 10 days. And Najee is incentivized this year because Pittsburgh didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so now he's going into a contract year. So what do you think that does to him? He wants to be in shape. He wants to perform. He's going to be motivated. He's going to want to, because if Pittsburgh doesn't want to keep him, he's going to want to get the bag at the end of the year. And the only way for him to get the bag is he's got to perform. So Pittsburgh was kind of brilliant in not picking up his 5th-year option. It gives him a little motivation. And so getting Najee in the 8th round, that's a steal. He has a very capability of being a top 10 running back easy.
Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, I got to wrap it up here. So final question or thoughts. I'm sorry, you said your name was Joel from where?
Oklahoma City.
Joel from, okay, let me enter you in the system here. Joel from Oklahoma City. Anything else, Joel?
I appreciate it. No, that's all. You've done well. All
right, man. Call back if you have another one tomorrow or later today. We're gonna be live today. We're not taking days off. This is an 8 p.m. show, Monday through Friday. See you later. Young, I don't mean to cut you short. I know you've been waiting on hold there. Anything I can help you with real quickly? I do got to run, so as fast as you can.
No, quick. I just was gonna say what Cabal said about Memorial Day is basically the same thing that I said. I just couldn't drop a 20 at the moment, so I had to make it a sport super chat. You know what I'm saying?
No. I wasn't meaning that necessarily to you. I was just, a lot of people were saying, "Whoa, happy moment!" It's. I was just kind of addressing it in general, not necessarily you. I appreciate your super chat, by the way.
Hey, yep. I appreciate you, man. All right, Smitty, have a good one.
All right, man. No need to explain. All right, later, bro.
Yep.
Sebastian, final thoughts.
Tennessee and Cincinnati are getting slept on with this approach.
Tennessee? No thanks. I'll take just Spears. I don't really like. As much as I love Pollard last year, I don't know. I don't know if I can get on board that. We'll see. Maybe Pollard turns my mind around if I see him, looking good in camp or something. Maybe I'll change.
Round 8, and he was injured last year.
Yeah, maybe I'll change my mind on that. I could see myself changing my mind on Pollard. I don't know. We'll see. I was so excited about him last year. Part of me doesn't know how biased I am because he disappointed or because I gave up on him when I saw him run away from that touchdown, that angled run where he literally just had to move forward 2 steps, and the defender was more toward the middle of the field in the end zone, and he just had to step to the left 1 step into the end zone, and he cut inward and went right at the guy who had no angle, and he didn't get in the end zone. It was the worst non-touchdown run I've ever seen in my life. It was unbelievable. It was almost like he had he had the under, he had the lower on his touchdown number, and it was like he couldn't. Oh my God, I'm gonna score. I got to go toward the defender. All he had to do is walk into the end zone. It was the dumbest run I've ever seen. And it pissed me off so bad. I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Let me open your mind real quick.
Oh, please do.
He walked into the season injured last year. He was a first-round, 1-2 turn pick.
I know.
We don't have to invest that much in him. I believe he's 25 or 26. He doesn't have a mileage of a workhorse. He doesn't have a mileage of an Aaron Jones or even a Josh Jacobs.
But the problem is in PPR though, or even half PPR, when you don't get all the receiving work, it makes you a lot less valuable. And Spears is locked into that PPR work, bro. So if anything, it's just like I'd rather just go after Spears, catch him footballs. Tony Pollard, I don't know how many balls he's going to catch, and that just makes him kind of one-dimensional.
I think he'll be more efficient though, because he's healthy and he's in the split back.
Maybe.
I think he will be more efficient.
We'll see. I'm not on board yet, but I wouldn't close the door on it. As far as the Bengals, of course, you need to consider Chase Brown and Zach Moss. Zach Moss's ADP is so ridiculous. Chase Brown's going in round 11. Zach Moss is going in freaking round. Let's see where he's going. Zach Moss. Sometimes he goes high and sometimes he goes low. I'm trying to find him in this draft right here.
He's like 100, like around Trey Benson.
Yeah, I'm looking for him. I don't even see him in this draft. Hold on. There he is. Round 9. So round 9 and round 11, he's fantastic. I mean, you could literally find 2 or 3 more cuffs, but these two feel to me like the more secure ones. But Zach Moss and Chase Brown, you could easily put in here. I mean, they're a good one. Zach Moss is just, that guy is so undervalued. The fact that Zach Moss did what he did in Indy after JT got his contract, and they're like, we can't take him off the field. All right, hey, gotta go, Sebastian. We'll see you later, bro. Scared Scott, you got 15 seconds. I gotta go. I'm on the way out the door. 15 seconds, Scott. Go.
Oh, I call back later.
Why? You can't fit it in?
I'll call back. I'll talk to you tonight.
All right. Later, Scott. All right, Ron, final thought.
Yeah, everybody forgets they're worried about Pittsburgh's running game and stuff. But they forget we were 5-1 in our own division last year. We beat Baltimore twice, we beat Cincinnati twice, and we split with Cleveland. So you got that. So,
yeah.
Anyways, we'll talk to you.
All right, be back at 8 p.m. later. All right, guys. These two are just one, as I said in the beginning, one of many potential running back combinations that you can get. Zach Moss is definitely one with Chase Brown. You could throw Pollard and Spears in here. You could throw a handful of others in this conversation. But they are pretty solid, and I'm pretty excited about these two duos that you can grab if you want to consume a cuff situation. Some could say that Brian Robinson and Eckler are also, a running back duo you could throw in here. But these are the ones that feel the most powerful to me walking into the season. With I would say Zach Moss and Chase Brown being third. Appreciate you all. K9 and Charbonnet, if you want to go higher, you could definitely pull that into this. But we've seen Walker go at the end of 5, so it's not quite qualifying if we're using the context of like a 8th and 9th round player, you know what I mean? So Walker's just a different monster. But if you wanted to open up the horizons and the parameters to this to be a 5th round guy, you could throw Walker in here easily. All right, I'll see you all later. Thanks to my super chatters, Ron Navy, Benji, TMO, Young, Coble. You guys rock. See you all tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern.